Hari Om, Nana.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Nana.
Hari Om, everybody.
How are you, Nana?
I'm very fine. Very fine. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good.
Hey, recording has started or no?
Start ayindi, Nana.
Started.
You muted everybody?
I'll mute everyone again. You mute, unmute yourself, okay?
Okay. Yeah. ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं गगन त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Hari Om. I suppose everybody knows the meanings of these prayer songs. Ramara,
Yes, Nana.
I suppose everybody knows the meanings of these prayer songs. Brahmanandam onwards, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Yam Brahma, etc. Because we have been chanting every day, we ought to know the meanings.
Yeah.
What?
We'll take it up in the Manana once. We'll do all the meanings once.
Okay. Now, we are on to the third chapter. We'll chant a few verses and get back to Simhavalocanam. I will tell you what is the Simhavalocanam. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Atha Trutiyodhyayah, Karma Yogaha, Arjuna Uvacha, Jayasi Chet Karmanaste, Mata Buddhi Janardana, Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam, Niyojayasi Keshava, Vyamishreneva Vakyena, buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. Shri Bhagavan uvacha lokesmin vividha nishta pura prokta maya nagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam na karmana manarambhan naishkarmyam purushosnute na cha sanyasana deva siddhim samadhigacchate nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jairgunaihi कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य रभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम् कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्धेद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्. Now I was saying Simhavalocanam. You know, why is that word used, Simhavalocanam? Avalocanam is saying Simha Avalocanam. Why it is particularly for the Simha, for the lion? I believe the lion, wherever it is, it keeps on marching, and afterwards it will stop for a while, for a minute, and look at the four corners and also look up for any problem, any inimical situation. Simha Avalokanam. That kind of a thing. Not that we are worried about any inimical situation, but we are going to kind of review. Review what? How we have started and come up thus far to the third chapter. What was the need for the second chapter? And what was Arjuna's sorrow through the first chapter? All those things we will quickly cover and come back to this third chapter, okay? Because otherwise there will be, if proper understanding is not there as to the adherence to jnana or adherence to karma yoga, there will be confusion. To remove that confusion, this Simha Avalokanam would be perhaps necessary, I thought. Now, in the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Arjuna's sorrow, it's a subject of Arjuna's sorrow. Why was Arjuna grieving like that? Because he had moha. Swajanam hi katam hatva sukhina syama madhava. Like that. Drushtvaimam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupastitam. And he also said, my limbs are simply failing me. I am unable to hold even the Gandiva. Gandivam sramsate hastat tvakcheva paridahyate. Then, when such is the case, why did the great fighter Arjuna come to the battlefield? Not only that, he has ordered his driver, Kitapa, saying what? Senayoho ubhayor madhye ratham stapaya me chuta. Yavadetan niriksheham yodhu kaman avastitan. Like that, he has said, hey, Krishna, please take my chariot in the middle of both the armies. I would like to see who all are keen on fighting me. Yodhu kaman avastitan. Kaihimaya sahayodhavyam asmin rana samujjame. In this battle, in this war, who is very desirous of fighting me? Let me see. I would like to see. So take the chariot. When he has done that, he was in what kind of a mood? He was in the mood of the Rajadharma mood. What is the Rajadharma? Rajadharma is you have to uphold dharma. And for upholding dharma, you will have to eliminate the adharmi. And adharmi is in the other camp. So you will have to eliminate all the adharmis in the other camp. That is when you can re-establish dharma, which was waning, which was on the decline. So you have come to the battlefield, very keen on establishing dharma, and after you have seen, Kitapa said what? After having taken the chariot to the middle of the both the armies, what did Bhagavan Krishna say?
Pashya.
Pashya Pardhan Samavetan Kuruniti. Hey Pardha, Samavetan Kuruniti. Kurun is both the Pandavas and Kauravas are Kurun. Samavetan Kuruniti. And that was a master stroke by Bhagavan Krishna, as though that created a lot of tremor in Arjuna's heart and mind. And he said, Drustvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupastitam Sidanti Mamagatrani Mukham cha Parishyushyati, all these things. That means what? His Rajadharma, what happened? He has forgotten. He got deluded. He got deluded, and he confesses that he got deluded in the beginning of the second chapter. And Arjuna has told Bhagavan Krishna in the beginning of the second chapter that he shall not fight. All those things we have seen. Now here, Drustvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupastitam, etc. Sedanti Mama Gatrani. And he was not of his self. His Swadharma is nicely hijacked by the attachment to Swadharma, the Swajana. Drustvemam Swajanam Krishna. That Swajanam that has taken the cake in Arjuna's mind, not the Swadharma. Swadharma is what? Rajadharma, which he has forgotten. And he keeps on worrying. And towards the end, he says, Yedi mam, yedi, in case mam, me, apratikaram, unresisting, yedi mam, apratikaram, ashastram, not holding any weapon, shastrapanayaha, dhartarashtraha, holding a lot of weapons, all these dhartarashtraha, rane hanyuho, in this battle, even if they kill me, tanme kshemataram bhavet, even then that is going to be very, very good for me. Then why did you come to the battlefield, and why did you order your driver to take your chariot to the middle of the armies? What is all this? What all has happened to the greatest warrior of those times? That means what? His Swadharma, he has forgotten. Rajadharma, he has forgotten. The word he has given to Yudhishthira, based on which this war was being waged, that is forgotten. He has also forgotten that he has requested Bhagavan Krishna to be his charioteer so that he will eliminate all the adharmis. All those things he has forgotten, totally forgotten, because of what? Because of the attachment to the Swajanam. Swajanam attachment will make you at times forget your Swadharma. And elsewhere, Krishna says, in two places, Bhagavan Krishna says, Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha, paradharmo bhayavaha. In the execution, in the adherence to your Swadharma, even if death you encounter, that is even better. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha, paradharmo bhayavaha. Paradharmo is what? Running away from the battle is one paradharma. And showing mercy to the adharmis is another dharma, another paradharma. All these things, bhayavaha. All these things we will cover in the 3rd chapter. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha, paradharmo bhayavaha. All these things, beautiful verses. Now, so this was the condition of Arjuna. Yes, please.
Yeah. Can we say in the 2nd chapter there is this shloka dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu, and the downfall, the ladder of downfall, that is about sense objects. But then in Arjuna's case, in Arjuna Vishada Yoga, he was constantly thinking about Swajanam. He was constantly thinking of killing them.
No, Brahmana, it was kind of instantaneous. The moment he has seen all the Kurus lying in front of him, and in front of him he has seen what? Bhishma Dronadayaha, Bahlika, who is a grandfather like Bhishma, Bahlika, and Somadatta, who is like his elder parent, Somadatta, and Somadatta's son, Duryodhana, and the total clan of 100 Kauravas. All those people he has seen, and on his side also he has seen. Everybody was his, and he knew when the war is waged, both sides will lose a lot of people. Death is not going to be limited to just one side. That can't be war, that can't be battle. And the other side also, the Adharmika side also, they have tremendous fighters. They are capable of inflicting very great casualties on his side. He knew that. So all these have made Arjuna instantaneously very, very sorrowful. And in that mood, he has forgotten why he has come there. That Jayato Vishayan Pumsaha, it's a kind of a step-by-step process. It's not that in the case of Arjuna. It was immediate. That Jayato Vishayan Pumsaha takes a little time. Here it did not take any time at all. So he was very, very sorrowful. That is the Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Then what happened? Bhagavan Krishna wanted to lift up Arjuna's morale, Arjuna's, grieving Arjuna. He wanted to lift him, make him a fighting Arjuna. So what did he say? He went on chiding him. Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya justam aswargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, from where did you get this faint-heartedness? You are a great fighter, and for the great fighter, this kind of a mind is unbecoming. Klaibyam masmagam apardha. When you came here and asked me to take the chariot to the middle of the both the armies, you were in a fighting mood. That was a very manly mood. Now You say you will not fight. You say, Tanme kshemataram bhavet ashastram shastrapanayaha daktarashtraha. What is all this happening? So you are showing a conflict in the mind. Klaibyam. You are showing a different approach in your mind, Arjuna. Klaibyam ma asmaga mahaparda naitattvayupapajyate. This is unbefitting a great fighter like you. And you have forgotten in the Virata Nagara, what have you done single-handedly? You had decimated the Kaurava armies, including Drona, Bhishma, Krupacharya, Ashwatthama, Karna, Duryodhana, everybody. And all those people, they simply ran away from you. And you have reacquired the cattle wealth of Virata and handed it over to him very gratefully. You've forgotten all that. Single-handedly you have done that. I'm not suggesting that you are afraid of facing these Kauravas. I'm not suggesting that. But why this faint-heartedness? Klaibyam maspakamappardha naitattvayupapajyate kshudram hrudaya daurbalyam Chektva uttishta parantapa. Parantapa. Paran Shetrun tapayati iti parantapaha. Paran, the opposing forces. Shetrun, the enemies. Tapayati, like even the midday sun. Tapayati, he will kind of burn them. Tapayati iti parantapaha. What a great title. And having that title, why are you sitting down and you are saying you will not fight? So that was a kind of a whiplash given by Krishna to Arjuna. But Arjuna was not giving up. His mind suddenly has gone to sannyasa. And he said, Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktum bhikshamapi haloke. Without killing Mahanubhavan Gurun and Pitamahan, bhikshamapi, even Bhikshatanam is Shreyaha apiloke. Hatva adhakamamstu Guruni haiva, Bhungiya bhogan Rudhira pradigdan. After killing them, the blood-stained food, how can we eat? How can we eat? Krishna. And these are the very strong defenses that Arjuna has put forth. And finally said what? Sanjaya says, not that Arjuna said. That Arjuna said, Sanjaya said, Eva muktva Hrushikesham Godakesha parantapaha Nayotcha iti govindam muktva tushnim babhuvaha. Having said all this, Sanjaya's narration, Arjuna said, I shall not fight. What is this I shall not fight? Why are you sitting in the chariot, man? And why are you employing me as a charioteer? And I'm supposed to be the world's best charioteer. And you have picked me up as a good charioteer. And you wanted to show your prowess with me at the helm of the affairs, holding the reins of the horses. Why are you behaving like this? Then the teaching, they started. The teaching of Bhagavan. And the teaching was beautiful. It started with Ashocyan Anmashochastvam Prajna Vadansya Bhashase Gata Asun Agata Asumsya Panditaha Na Anushocante. Hey Arjuna, you are unnecessarily grieving for that which does not deserve any grief. Ashocyan Anvasochastvam Prajnavadamsya Bhash. And you are talking big words as though born out of a lot of wisdom. You talked of Naraka, Swarga, and earlier in the first chapter, during the outpour of your Vishada, I heard all that. Prajna Vadamsya Bhashase Gata asun, agata asunscha panditaha na anushochanti. Panditaha means pandaha atma vishaye jnanaha yasya astit saha panditaha. Atma jnana samanvitaha, that is panditaha. Those panditaha, they will not grieve like you, and you talk like a pandita, and you are behaving like an apandita. You are behaving like an apandita. Ashochanam ashocastam prajnavadamsya bhashase gata asun. Asun is pranan. Gata asun, regarding those people whose life has ebbed away, gata asun, agata asunscha, agata asunscha. Such are those people who are still living. You panditaha na anushochanti, and went on trying to grill a lot of sense, lot of atma viveka in Arjuna. And he said in the second verse itself, second verse is the 12th verse of the second chapter. For the 11th verse is Ashochanam Ashochastra. 12th verse is beautiful. Natveva ham jatunasam natvam ne me janadhipaha nachevana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatha param. Hey Arjuna, why are you grieving unnecessarily? It is not as though you, I, and all these people are arrayed in front of us. They will not be in future. Not that they were not earlier. And why are you unnecessarily grieving? Same thing applies to you and I. We shall be in future. We have been in the past. We are now. So don't you worry. And he says, this shariri cannot be killed. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehi, that is the shariri, the indweller in the body, is Dehi nityam. He is nityam, eternal. Avadhyoyam cannot be killed. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehe sarvasya bharata. In all the dehas, it's not just limited to your deha, my deha, Dronacharya deha, Bhishmacharya deha. No. In all the dehas, Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehe sarvasya bharata. Tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi. Having known this truth, why are you unnecessarily grieving? You don't deserve any kind of grief, Arjuna. Get up, realize the truth. And he said, the truth is, this shariri, this dehi, najayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. All these things and beautifully summed up, saying this cannot be pierced by weapons. Achedyoyamadayoyam akledyo soshyayevacha nitya sarvagatasthānuho achaloyam sanatanaha avyaktoyam achinchoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi. This shariri cannot be pierced by any kind of weapons. And not only that, the elements cannot do anything, any harm to the shariri. The elements like Vayu, Agni, waters, and Bhumi, they can't do anything. Akledyo soshayevacha nitya sarvagataha sthanuhu achalaha ayam sanatanaha. All these things, having said that, towards the end, he has given the impression to Arjuna that this jnana must be acquired. This jnana must be acquired, and this must be assimilated to understand the tattva of Atma. That tattva of Atma, for it to be assimilated, there is a requirement initially of cleansing the impurities in the mind. And he said, Eshate abhita sankhye. This has been unfolded to you in the Sankhya. Sankhya means in the Jnana. Okay? Eshate abhita sankhye. Abhita sankhye buddhihi. Yoge tvimam shrunu. Yoge karma yoge. Tu imam shrunu. Buddhya yukto. Buddhya yukto means karma yoga buddhya yukto. Karma bandham prahasyasi. You will cross over the bondage of karma. The sukham cha, dukkam punyam cha papam. That karma bandham you will cross. Initially, you will have to get onto this. While Bhagavan Krishna explicitly did not say that initially you will have to get onto this, but that is an underlining of Bhagavan's teaching, because he had immediately denounced what such of those people who are stuck with the karma kanda of the Vedas forever, forever, forever. Nothing wrong in adhering to the karma kanda of Veda. It depends on the adhikaritvam. It depends on the qualification of the sadhaka. If the sadhaka is not very well qualified for karma yoga, he ought to undertake the yajnas, yagas, and graduate from there to have a mind which will be receptive to karma yoga bhavana and karma yoga anusthana. So while drilling that, he said, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadancha apipaschitaha. Those people, they will keep on talking in such a way that it's very pleasing to your ears. Pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha. People who do not see the truth. People who do not see what is good for them. What is good for them, they do not see. And if they do this karma kanda adherence only, that means what? It is not going to be beneficial. And what is going to be beneficial? What is going to be beneficial? Karmani evate adhikaraha ma phaleshu kadachana. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam chaktva dhananjaya. You do that, and that will really take you to very great heights in your qualification for Atma Vidya. That is a mandatory requirement. Without this jnana cannot be acquired. You may hear about ajaha, nityaha, shashvataha, nahanyate, hanyamane sharire. These are all simple inputs to the intellect. What has it done to you? What has it done to you? Have you realized that you are ajaha? Have you realized that you have been before God? You know what I am saying? You are before God. I'll say that. Supposing I say that, do you accept that? Do you appreciate that? You are before God. You are God is one thing. You are before God. Who is that God? That God you are praying to every day. That deity you pray to every day. You are before the deity. Let the deity be even Kitappa. That Kitappa you are praying to daily during your waking hours. You are even prior to him. And when I say this, will you accept it? If you don't accept, I will tell you how you ought to accept. When, supposing you go to sleep, and you go to sleep. Is Kittappa there in the sleep? Kittappa is not there. But are you there? You are there. In your sleep, you are there. And Kittappa is absent. When you wake up, you have seen the beautiful bronze statue of Kittappa right in front of you. You have done namaskar to Kittappa, and that Kittappa presented himself to you after you. You have been, and Kittappa is. And Kittappa was not in your dream. You have been. In your dream, you have been. You can't be dismissed. You are the one who is there always. Kittappa or no Kittappa, you are there always. And you are indeed Kittappa. That is why that Kittappa, who is external to you, has as though absorbed himself in you. And that is how you have not seen him when you are sleeping. You are ahead of Kittappa. When I say this, what I am saying is, for these kind of words to kindle some dormant wisdom in the mind, it is required that the mind must be absolutely receptive. Between Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, it's not one of choice. It's not as though, no, I will pick Sankhya Yoga, you take Karma Yoga. I don't want Karma Yoga, I'll straight away go to Sankhya. No, it's not a matter of choice. It's a matter of qualification. Are you qualified for the wisdom yoga, Sankhya Yoga? Are you qualified? If you are not qualified, get to the lower rung, which is Karma Yoga. And during the Karma Yoga Anushtana, don't you give up the Atma Vidya, that Jnana. Keep on thinking of all those things. Najayate, mriyate, va, kadachit, etc. Nainam chindanti shastrani, veda avinashanam vidhi, yayena majamavyayam, kadam sapurusha pardhakam ghatayati hantikam. All these things, keep on rolling in your mind and trying to live the meaning of those while doing Karma Yoga. And that is when, like Bhagavan Krishna said, Yadate moha kalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Yadate moha kalilam buddhihi. Your clouded buddhi vyatitarishyati. It crosses over that kind of moha kalilam, and tada, then gantasi nirvedam, you will gain dispassion to what? Tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha, as to what you need to hear further and what you have already heard. Shrotavyasya shrutasya cha, because you are going to make whatever you have heard your own property. Your own property, because you are that. Whatever you have heard and all those attributes, those adjectives, all those characteristics of Atma, they apply to you, and you are applying to yourself. Shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Shruti vipratipannate yadhastasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamamapsyasi. Hey Arjuna, this is what is required. You have to appreciate this. Then Arjuna asked, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajete kim. What are the lakshanas of Sthita prajna? Arjuna wanted to know. He is as though bending himself, I think, away from sannyasa, perhaps, and wanting to know what are the sthita prajna lakshanas, so that he can copy them. There is a beautiful saying, Siddhasya lakshanani yani. Siddhasya means Siddha Purushasya, Lakshanani yani. Lakshanani yani means a simple characteristics of that person. Okay, simple characteristics of that, like characteristics, he is what? Some 5 feet 9 inches height. That is a characteristic. He is a Siddha Purusha, and he is not so very fair looking. That is another characteristic. He lost all his hair. That is another characteristic. But he is a great Siddha Purusha. There is nothing he does not know about Atma Vidya. If that is said, I want to know what are the Atma Vidya Lakshanas that he is capable of exhibiting. So I would like to know so that I can copy them. So Siddhasya Lakshanani Yani Sadhakasya. Sadhakasya means for people like I and you. For people like us, Sadhakasya Sadhanani, they become the means holding which and acquiring which we will have to go forward. Sadhakasya sadhanani prayatnena sampadhyani. With great will and effort, you will have to acquire them. Acquire what? Whatever is natural for the Siddha Purusha, you will have to acquire whatever the natural qualities of the Siddha Purusha. That is what he wanted to know. And Bhagavan beautifully said what? He does not depend on happiness for anything coming from external inputs. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan pardhamanogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnaha tada uchyate. He is said to be the sthita prajna. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan pardhamanogat. Whatever desires that keep on emanating in the mind, all those things he simply wins over. Wins over by what? By wisdom. Wins over, and he remains happy in himself, by himself, without anything from the external world. And he says, Yada samharate chayam kurmaha angani va sarvashaha indriyani indriyadebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. Not that his indriyas will not be tossed by the sense objects. They will. Sense objects are very, very powerful. They will try to harm the sense organs. At those times, these harmful influences, when he senses, what does he do? He simply folds back the indriyas into himself like the kurmaha. Kurmaha is the tortoise, turtle, right? And he says, it may be difficult. Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavadyam rasopyasya param društva nivartate. You may have, with tremendous resolve, given up all bad things, but the rasa of all those bad things you have indulged in previously, that keeps on bothering. That rasa also goes away. Param društva. Param is what? Kittapa društva. And what kind of a kittapa? What kind of a ajam, nirvikalpam, nirakaram, ekam, brahmanandam, paramasukhadam, kevalam jnanamurtim, dvandvatitam, gagana sadrusham, tattvamasya laksham, ekam nityam, vimalamachalam, sarvadhi sakshibhutam, bhavatitam, trigunarahitam, sadgurum, jagadgurum, tam namami. That param društva is that. When that happens, that also goes away. Rasa also, rasavajjam, the purging of that rasam also goes away. He says that. And like Brahmara was mentioning, that the ladder of destruction he has beautifully given. Jayato vishayan pumsaha sangaha teshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati. When the buddhi is destroyed, he gets destroyed himself. That is a condition of a person who gives in to attachments. Jayato vishayan pumsaha sangaha, attachment. Sangaha teshu upajayate. And from that attachment, sangat sanjayate kamaha, the desire is born. Kamat krodho bijayate. The desire which is not fulfilled or not fulfilled as you wanted, whatever, it is obstructed. That kamaha krodho bijayate. And from krodha, from anger, krodhat bhavati sammohaha. When anger happens, did you observe the angry person? His eyes go red and his body starts trembling, and he does not know when he says something, his lips will be very, very, very funny also. Lips will also be trembling, and he will not, that he does not know the language of chiding, language of treating you very, very badly. He knows, but his anatomy is on fire. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. And with that fire, his mind is totally gone. Sammohaha, totally deluded. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. And because of the delusion, the memory is lost. Memory as to who you are. You are his bosom friend. You are his friend with whom he has not kept any secret. And to that person, what does he do? Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshaha. He will say, avatyavadam cha bahun vadishyanti. Unheard of sentences he will hurl at you. You will be wondering, is it my bosom friend who is talking like this? What happened to him? What happened to him? You will wonder. Yeah, your wonder is not unfounded, because he is destroyed. He is destroyed because of delusion. The delusion has taken place because of the attachment. And Arjuna, your problem is one of attachment. Swajanam hi katam hatva sukhinasyama madhava. That swajanam, swa is what? Attachment. Swajanam hi katam hatva. You are talking all those things you said. So that ladder of destruction is given. And later on, Krishna Bhagavan says, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu. On the other hand, Arjuna, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu, the person who does not have this Ragam Chadvesham, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu, Vishayan Indriyaischcharan. Vishayan Indriyaischcharan. When the Indriya Vishas keep on as though humming on the sense organs, Atma Vashyehi, with his mind totally in his grip. Atma Vashyehi vidhe Atma prasadam adhigachyati. He will attain to a state of being very, very tranquil. Excuse me. prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate prasanna chetaso hyashuhu buddhihi paryavatishtate. All these things we have yesterday covered, and towards the end Bhagavan says he draws a kind of a contrast between people like us and a jnani, a brahmajnani. What is that verse? These are the gems of verses. We should not forget them. Okay. And he no. What is day for everybody? Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati samyame yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. Hey Arjuna, what he sees in the Jagat is not only himself, the Atma Tattva. He sees in the Jagat, in everything that he sees Brahma Eva. And you and I will see what? You see me and I see you. And I ride the horses, you sit in the chariot. These are all what we are seeing. Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam. That Nisha Sarvabhutanam is Atma Tattva. Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam Atma Jnanam. Tasyam Jagati Samyami. This Samyami, this Jnanavan Purushaha, he is awake. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. This he has covered. And towards the end he says, Apuryamanam Machala Pratishtam Samudram Apaha Pravishanti Yadvat Nadinam Apaha Samudram Yadvat Pravishanti. And that Samudram is how? Apuryamanam, unfillable. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam. You can't shake it. It is established in its own glory of being very huge and vast and accommodating, has a capacity to accommodate hundreds of rivers rushing into it. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudrama pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve saha shantimapnoti na kama kame. Okay, the desirer of objects will not. He will be like the river running away from here and there, here and there. He is like Samudram. He is a jnani. And Bhagavan Krishna says, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Parda Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Syamanta Kalepi Brahma Nirvana Mruchyati. And thus he has given the jnana to Arjuna, and he has also alerted him to the need for the means to acquire the jnana. The means to acquire the jnana is karma yoga anusthana, and that is where we are now. And Arjuna was as though confused, because initially Krishna has said what? Ajaha shashvataha puranaha nahanyate hanyamane sharire veda avinashanam viddhi yaye namajam avim. All those things beautifully he said, and those are what? Jnana. And later on he said what? Yogastha kuru karmani sangam chaktva dhananjaya sukha dukkhe same krutva labha alabhau jaya jayo. All these things apply to the karma yoga. And it looked as though to Arjuna that Krishna has praised jnana in preference to karma. So he has expressed his doubt in the opening verse of the 3rd chapter. Arjuna Uvacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhi Janardana Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. Arjuna said, Hey Krishna, if you consider knowledge as superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action, Keshava? And here, now from the Karma Yoga chapter onwards, I would request all of you to please open the 3rd chapter, which Dr. Brahmara has sent you as PDF. And in that, for every sloka, Swamiji has given the Pratipadardham. The Pratipadardham is in the form of Anvaya. Anvaya is what? Like a prose form. This is what Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhi Janardhan. This is poetic. There are some words picked up from there and from here. These are like a garland. To start with, it was jasmine, then later on rose, and then, you know, what is that other way? Some other, all those things. All those things will have to be nicely arranged for you to understand the verse. Jayasi Chet. I will limit myself to only this verse. Jayasi Chet. Jayasi means what? In case you consider superior. Chet, in case. Chet. Karmana. Te means you. Te mata means your mata. Mata means not religion, opinion. Te mata. In all Gita, this mata comes a number of times, and generally it connotes only opinion. Only opinion. This is my opinion. Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhihi Janardana. How do we have to rearrange this? Te Mata Karmanaha Buddhihi Jayasi Chet. Te Mataha, your opinion, Karmanaha, compared to karma, Buddhihi, Buddhi is what? Jnanam, that. Jayasi, Chet, in case this is your opinion, Janardana, hey Janardana, Tat, then Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. This is straightforward. The second line is in the Anvaya form. It is in the prose form only. You can read this. Tat Kim, then Kim, why? Karmani Ghore, in this Ghore Karmani, in this terrible war, Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. Why are you asking me to fight this war? When did Krishna ask him to fight this war? He didn't. Tasmad yujyasva yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. He said in the 2nd chapter, isn't it? He said that. Akirtim chapi bhutani kadayishyanti te avyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtihi maranadatirichyate. All those things. So my request to all of you is, you please open the PDF document Dr. Brahmara has sent all of you. Please go through the Pratipadardham, which straight away tells you the Vachana Bhava of the Sloka, the Anvaya Bhava, the prose form of the sloka. And when you get into that kind of a discipline, it becomes very easy for you to understand the sloka, right? Now we have come to the end of the road, where I'm happy we could cover at least one verse of the third chapter. We will do justice to third chapter from tomorrow onwards. Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hariom, Nana.
Hari
Thank
Om,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, Nana.
Mhm.
Hari Om.
Dhanyavad.
Hari Om.